My career highlights, well, it's very difficult to replace playing because nothing really comes close to that sense of being in the changing room, running out and just being there on your little stage. But it doesn't last that long. So, the rest of your life is just trying to replicate it, I suppose. But I think doing the showdown in Cardiff when Wales had to beat England by 27 points to win the title, and they did it. And that was probably as good a moment in commentary as I've had. Yes, especially with Brian Moore alongside me, gnashing his teeth. I look back on my rugby career with a fair amount of anguish, actually, because it was so tough. And it is so brutal, and it's so competitive that I'm not sure whether I extracted that much pure joy out of it. Our winning was great, but it was mixed with a fair degree of tension. And I've loved broadcasting, but I suppose, when my first novel was published, I think that was a big moment for me. So the last month of putting the final touches to The Head of Gonzo Davis, I felt on a sort of a moment of levitation, which sounds ridiculous, but it was just great fun to do it. Oh. Well, on the rugby side, there was Rod Seeley, who ran the first 15 for many years. And so, we played a certain brand of rugby, which was just great. It was a bit of this and a bit of that and a lot of everything. We were so tight as a team. So, thanks to Rod for that. But I think Peter Anthony as well, who stayed on long afterwards, was acting headmaster, second master. He taught me history at A-level, and he was great. He was. We all need one teacher who sort of just lifts our soul a bit in the classroom, because it didn't come naturally to me to like a subject, but I did. I have now a much more conscious curiosity about history. I love history now much more than I did when poor old Peter was teaching it to me. But so again, I thank him for that. I suppose I went on a French exchange when I was 12 and sort of found that I could mimic the French quite well, but grammatically probably imperfect. But I did enjoy languages, and when I was 18, you talk about experiences in life, and when I was 18, I went and lived in Spain for a year before going to Cambridge, and it was the year when Franco was still alive. Spain still had their dictator in place, and he actually died when I was out there. I tell you, it wasn't my fault, but he died. So do you talk about experiences? And I was there at the birth of the Spain that thrives today. The advice I'd give myself would be, find something that appeals to you and get stuck into it. I flirted with too many things and never latched on to something until my school days were over, really. I found I was much more curious at university than I ever was at school. Sport dominated my life at school, and actually did at Cambridge, but I managed to mix things up better at Cambridge, and I think I was probably a little bit unhappy at school. So my advice to everybody would be, don't be unhappy. This is a place to, fulfill your dreams. And I think the sixth form especially was great, and I think we managed to find the balance between the sport and the social side of things and the academic side of things. And I think nowadays that's much better managed. I think it's much better understood that there is a balance. This isn't about subjects only, that we have to send out moulded individuals. And now I'm pleased. I'm very proud father, seeing what they are now, that I think they've survived it much better than I did.